there's an interesting paradox between the material pursuit of things and the spiritual pursuit. A lot of times it looks like they're different, and indeed they are quite different, and they do lead in some regards to very different places. However, there's an element of similarity in them that I think is really worth noting. And that's that when I'm having a key moment, when I'm accomplishing something in my professional life, or I'm accomplishing something in my personal life, I see that things I've worked for in my family and with my friends and with colleagues have come to fruition. In those really key experiences, like when you watch your child walk across the stage in graduation, or there's a milestone in a company that you founded, or you quit your job and started your own small business, and now you're you're independent and you're working for yourself. These moments when you realize that you've accomplished something that you set out to do, they have an element of great satisfaction. They have an element of consciousness to them in the sense that they have a timelessness. If it's a really the kind of key moment I'm talking about, there's a moment of timelessness there. There's a moment of satisfaction, of deep satisfaction, a moment of completeness, and a moment of belonging. And of course, these are all the characteristics of the expanded state of consciousness that we experience in meditation if we take the time to notice. Of course, if we just superficially do it, like so many people try it and then they think, well, nothing's happening, and they get bored. But if you are lucky enough to have had some training or some direction through an experienced teacher, and you start to have some success at meditation, you start to, of course, you get these things, this sense of timelessness, boundarylessness, and so forth. And these are the same things that we find when we're having, or not the same things, but they're similar to what we find when we're having a peak experience that has been generated through some kind of material pursuit. Now, they're not quite the same, of course, and the problem with the ones that we produce through the material pursuit is that they don't last. I mean, we see the kid walk across the stage and tears well up in our eyes, and we feel warm, and it's a wonderful moment. And then, of course, the kid has to go and get a job, or get their first real job, and there's a whole nother set of problems. And if we purchase the home, and the home is great for a while, but then you realize, oh gosh, there's really too many windows there, and there's not enough insulation, and how come the heat keeps coming on? The view is beautiful, but it's freezing in the living room. We start to notice the flaws, and then we start to think, well, the next house, or God, can I have this thing redesigned, or can I put some insulation? The process continues. We have to keep pursuing and arranging and controlling and possessing our material environment in hopes that we're going to have another peak or key experience that will give us that level of sense of timelessness and completion and satisfaction and all those things that consciousness is inherently. And of course, not only do we have to repeat it, but because if we're not living from an expanded state, we're probably operating in that material way from anxiety. That's why we want to possess and control. And if we're operating in the material world through anxiety and not through our own satisfaction, then we have to feel that discontent that was there in the beginning. And I've talked about the fundamental problem of humanity in a different talk. but still we have that gnawing feeling. Oh gosh, it keeps going. The kid graduated, now the kid's got a new job, and that now they're tired of the new job, and how are they going to get another job, or another house, or another? It's endless. Another car, and another bill, and another, and another, and another, and another, and that leads, of course, to depression. Well, first anger, because I keep trying to have that. I keep trying to reproduce those moments, those peak moments. Then we'll take the family on a wonderful vacation, and there'll be a peak moment in a traveling. And then, my God, that cost a fortune. But when's the next peak moment coming, you see? So the problem with those things, of course, are that I have to keep generating, and I'm looking for them in the wrong places. I'm looking for them from material ends. However, what I want to point out is that regardless of whether you're even thinking in any type of spiritual way, or in any way about expanded consciousness, or about your essential self or your essential state of being, you're still pursuing those moments. So the most materialistic people, without knowing it, are pursuing expanded states of consciousness. And that's really, it's too bad that they don't realize that the way that they're pursuing them is not going to work for them if they don't have more than that. If it's just the material, they're going to be in trouble. It's going to lead them to more depression and more disconnection. But whether they know it or not, they're pursuing that same timeless moment.